You run up a flight of stairs, your chest heaves, you stop at the top to catch your breath and move on with your day. It feels like a minor, fleeting inconvenience. But what if that exact same breath could kill you? Above a certain height, the world changes completely. Your lungs expand effortlessly. The air is thick, your body takes this constant flow of invisible fuel completely for granted. It is easy to forget that life is a fragile gift. What happens when the fuel runs out? You look at pictures of Mount Everest. You see the bright jackets of climbers dotting the final ridges. They look like they are simply taking a short break in the snow, but the real answer is far stranger. Many of those figures have been resting there for decades. They wear neon greens, bright reds, and deep blues. These colors are meant to make them visible in a blinding white storm. Now, those colors serve as grim trail markers for everyone else. They are permanent fixtures of the climb. Your mind naturally expects a rescue team to come. You assume a helicopter can just fly up and bring them home. It seems like the decent thing to do. Why do we leave them on the mountain? The truth lies in a zone where human biology breaks down. We live in an era of incredible technology. We assume every problem has a mechanical solution waiting to be deployed, but nature laughs at our tools when we push past our limits. Some places remain entirely beyond our reach. You step past 8,000 meters above sea level, you have just entered the absolute limit of human survival. Mountaineers call this place the death zone. The name is not an exaggeration. Can your body survive in a place not meant for life? Your body cannot adapt to this height. No amount of training or conditioning can save you from the steady decay. You are literally dying every single second you spend up here. It is a race against an invisible, ticking clock. The air pressure drops drastically. The atmosphere thins out. Every single breath you take delivers only a fraction of the oxygen your cells desperately need. Your lungs struggle to function. You are slowly suffocating with every passing minute. The pressure is what pushes oxygen through your lung membranes and into your bloodstream. Without that pressure, your body cannot absorb the air even if you gasp violently. You're surrounded by atmosphere, yet you are completely empty. How long can a cell survive on nothing? You might think the air has a different mix of gases. It does not. The percentage of oxygen remains exactly 21%, just like at sea level. But the molecules are spaced incredibly far apart. How do you breathe when the air lacks density? The physical laws of our planet are absolute. The column of air above you is simply too short to compress the gases together. Each breath contains only 1/3 of the gas molecules you find at the beach. Your heart races frantically to compensate. Dr. Jeremy Windsor studied this exact phenomenon. He climbed Everest in 2007 with the Caldwell Extreme Everest Expedition. He wanted to understand how human blood adapts to extreme starvation of air. He took blood samples high up on the mountain. He braved the freezing temperatures to conduct his high-altitude medical tests. He used specialized equipment designed to withstand the brutal cold without freezing solid. His own fingers numbed as he drew blood from his fellow climbers. Why would anyone risk their life for data? The results shocked the medical community. He found that climbers near the summit were surviving on just 1/4 of the oxygen they needed at sea level. Their arterial oxygen levels were astonishingly low. It was a medical miracle. Do you know who else has blood numbers like that? The numbers seemed entirely incompatible with human consciousness. At sea level, a patient with these oxygen levels would be immediately placed on a mechanical ventilator. They would be surrounded by a team of frantic doctors, yet here men were ascending vertical ice walls. Windsor noted these figures matched patients on the verge of death. They were identical to people dying in hospital intensive care units. Yet these climbers were still walking. Their bodies were performing a desperate, impossible balancing act. This realization changed our understanding of human tolerance forever. It showed that the human body can endure terrifying extremes if it acclimates slowly over several weeks. But that endurance has a strict, non-negotiable expiration date. Eventually, the system collapses. You cannot simply pick up a fallen climber. A living person at sea level might weigh 150 pounds, but a frozen body high on a ridge behaves entirely differently. It becomes an immovable part of the landscape. Why does a frozen body weigh so much? Your instincts tell you to pull a friend to safety. You want to carry them down the slope like a hero in a movie. But reality on a standard ridge is brutal and unforgiving. A single misstep will send both of you falling into a 3,000-meter abyss. The bitter cold turns tissue into solid stone. The moisture freezes instantly. The body absorbs surrounding snow and ice until it anchors itself directly to the rock. It easily swells to over 300 pounds. Moving it requires immense, superhuman physical effort. The cold strips away the human form and replaces it with something resembling granite. The clothing becomes frozen crisp and fuses with the synthetic materials of the gear. Trying to bend an arm or a leg becomes totally impossible. They are frozen in the exact position they died. It takes a team of 6 to 8 elite Sherpas to move one body. They must chip the ice away with axes while battling the thin air. Every step down a steep, icy cliff risks multiple lives. Is it right to risk 8 living lives for one who is gone? These guides possess incredible physical strength and genetic adaptations to high altitudes. Yet even for them, the task is a logistical nightmare that pushes them to the brink. They must consume massive amounts of supplemental oxygen just to stay upright. The cost of recovery is measured in human lives. Dr. Paul Firth from Harvard Medical School investigated why people die up there. He analyzed decades of high-altitude data to find patterns in the fatalities. His research uncovered a hidden killer hiding inside the skull. He focused heavily on high-altitude cerebral edema. He wanted to look past the myths and understand the precise medical failures occurring on the summit day. He discovered that most accidents are not caused by simple slips or bad luck. They are caused by a silent, creeping neurological breakdown. Your own cells betray you. This condition is known as hace for short. The extreme lack of oxygen causes fluid to leak directly into your brain tissue. Your brain begins to swell inside your skull. Severe headaches quickly follow. Can you trust your own mind when it starts to drown? The brain demands a massive, continuous supply of oxygen to maintain its complex electrical networks. When that supply drops, the blood vessels expand wildly to bring more fluid to the area. This emergency response backfires terribly by creating intense pressure inside the bone. The mind begins to fracture. Your coordination vanishes completely. You begin to stagger like a drunk person trying to walk a straight line. Your judgment fails. Climbers suffering from hace often strip off their warm clothes because their internal thermostat breaks. They wander off the path into the void. You lose the ability to perform basic tasks like clipping your safety carabiner into the fixed rope. You drop your ice axe without realizing it. Your companions speak to you, but their words sound like distant, meaningless static. Are you still yourself when your thoughts dissolve? Dr. Hugh Montgomery also joined the research efforts on the mountain. He studied how human muscle cells react to this extreme environment. He discovered that your microscopic powerhouses, the mitochondria, completely change their behavior. They stop producing energy efficiently. Your muscles literally starve. The cells are forced to switch from aerobic metabolism to anaerobic pathways to survive. This process creates a massive buildup of toxic lactic acid throughout your limbs. Your muscles burn with a white-hot intensity before going completely numb. The body simply runs out of batteries. You try to lift your leg, but it feels like lead. Every single step requires total concentration and immense willpower. Your body is cannibalizing itself just to keep your heart beating. You have no strength left to spare. How could you possibly carry someone else? You look at your boots and command them to move forward. Your mind is screaming, but your muscles refuse to cooperate with the order. You are a prisoner inside an exhausted, freezing shell of flesh. Survival becomes a game of inches. You might wonder why a helicopter cannot solve this problem. The physics of flight prevent it from working at that altitude. Helicopters need thick air to generate lift with their spinning rotor blades. In the death zone, the air is too thin to support them. They simply fall from the sky. We live in an era of incredible technology. We assume every problem has a mechanical solution waiting to be deployed. But nature laughs at our tools when we push past our limits. Some places remain entirely beyond our reach. You must walk past the fallen if you want to summit. This is the dark psychological tax of the mountain. You see the famous landmark known as Green Boots lying in a limestone cave. You step over the bodies of people who had families and dreams. Does your mind protect you from the horror? You must look away from the green boots sticking out into the path. You must ignore the tattered remains of tents that mark old tragedies. If you allow yourself to process the emotion, your resolve will crumble instantly. The mountain demands a heart of stone. Your brain enters a primitive state of pure survival. The lack of oxygen numbs your emotional processing centers completely. You cannot afford to feel pity or grief. If you stop to cry, your own toes will freeze. If you sit down to comfort someone, you will never get up. This is not cruelty. It is the absolute law of high-altitude physics. Your body is rationing its remaining energy for your vital organs alone. It shunts blood away from your hands, your feet, and your higher emotional centers. You become a walking machine focused entirely on the next step. This harsh reality mirrors the hidden limits inside your everyday life. Your modern brain is designed to protect itself above all else when pressure spikes. You shut down empathy when you enter your own personal survival modes. We all have a psychological death zone inside us. You experience moments where stress overwhelms your ability to care for anyone else. You focus entirely on getting through the day, the hour, or the minute. We treat empathy as a moral choice, but it is actually a biological luxury. It requires safety to exist. You return home from your travels. You stand at the base of your own steps. You run up a flight of stairs and your chest heaves. You stop at the top, catch your breath, and realize how fragile that simple breath truly is. Have you ever appreciated the sky beneath your feet? You look up at the comfortable environment you take for granted every evening. You open your front door and feel the dense, warm air rush into your face. You are safe in the thick atmosphere of the lowlands. You are alive because the air is heavy.